All right, everybody, it's time for It Came From Tubi, where basically what we're going to do is I'm going to go on Tubi and see if I can find anything that's worth watching on the horror front. So stick around. On this first episode, we're going to be talking about the Deep Web Murder Show. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris. Thanks for stopping by and watching It Came From Tubi, with our first episode being the Deep Web Murder Show. But before we get into all of that for real, guys, this is going to be a very serious section, but I just want to, kind of send my condolences. Dan Zachary, who's the writer and director of this film, did recently pass away, and I just want to send all the good vibes out to his family and everything. It does suck when you get a filmmaker who does put out something and they are passionate about it, and it kind of starts something that could grow into a filmmaker doing better and better and better. So it was cut short, but do know that even though I may make fun of this movie and I may dig into it, that it's nothing personal. That's basically what I wanted to say. Just all my thoughts go out to his family, and let's get into the review as a whole. All right, guys, so we're going to be talking about the Deep Web Murder Show, a low-budget movie that is on Tubi that I think does have some interesting ideas, but ultimately does fall flat in some of its execution. But I do like, and I do think that Dan Zachary did have a bright future ahead of him as this kind of interesting thing where we do have a red room type thing going on the deep web. And I do like, again, think that some of the idea and concepts here work as a whole, but the execution obviously is a first-time filmmaker. So nothing, nothing against him there. I think this is a valiant effort into the foray of horror, but I just think the biggest complaint I have really has nothing to do with like the film itself, like as a story or a plot device. I think the main guy, and I've got their names here because I, don't want to mess up their names. Aiden Howard. I'm sorry, Aiden Howard, but Jesus, man. The acting is bad. We just recently covered the Hatchet series, and I thought Danielle Harris, who is a seasoned actress, was like watching paint dry on a brick wall, but this guy, I don't know, he's going for these emotional beats. They're just not there. Something just kind of feels off about his character.
I just couldn't get myself up there. It was really hard for me too. She was my closest family member.
I don't want to dig too much into that, but that was my one complaint, is that this dude has to do all the heavy lifting in this film, and I just don't think he was up to snuff to do it, Maybe after a few more movies, I don't know his filmography, but that was my biggest complaint, is I'm like, man, you are resting this entire movie on this guy's shoulders, and it just ain't working, man. But let's talk about the movie. So basically what happens is Ethan's sister gets taken and goes missing, and then that leads to him kind of digging into what happened to her, and subsequently finding out that there is this deep web murder show going on, and basically a red room where people are coming in and paying to kind of decide how people are going to die. And at the forefront of this, we've got our clown masked, perpetrators who are basically kind of going out of their way to kidnap these people, put them on the murder show, and basically make money. Ethan goes along through this and is joined by Victoria. That's her name. Nope. Her name is Kate. Victoria gets snatched and killed. But Kate is basically the love interest in this movie and a friend of Mandy, Ethan's sister. So, they've got that connection, and I don't know. She's better as far as the acting front goes. I think she does a little better job than Ethan's character did here. But, again, she does a lot of heavy lifting where she's got to be sympathetic towards her friend, but also resilient because she doesn't get taken and she has to survive along with Ethan. So I do like the investigative nature of this film. I think that's the most interesting thing, is how are you going to, basically uncover and unravel this deep web red room murder show if you have no skills or no technical ability. He does run a podcast where they do talk about serial killers and also the incompetence of the police in the area, which does come back to fuck him later in this movie, I will say. That was one aspect that I did like that rounded out the end of this movie. I was like, I did not see that coming. I kind of saw something along those lines coming, but I had kind of forgotten about that throughout the film, and it shows its head at the end of this film. We'll get into that a little bit later. But overall, I do like the concept. I do like this podcaster turned investigator along with a friend of a victim, and they get closer as the film goes on, and they basically find out that this murder show is real, and how are they going to take it down. And how they're going to take it down is they go to their friend, who is of course a hacker. So this guy just, using a $29.99 Logitech wireless mouse and keyboard, probably not going to be the hacker route, if you know what I mean. This was another instance where I was just like, none of this in this is right. None of this picture looks right. And of course, he is super into weed, of course, because you can't be a hacker unless you're getting high doing it. But anyway, his character is kind of funny and basically supposed to be the kind of comedic kind of break before the end of the movie when all the action happens. And he's fine. He does find out that there is actually a deep web thing, which does lead them to kind of find where they're supposed to be going. The two main characters, Ethan and Kate, get got. And that's where they have to break out of this. So I don't want to really spoil the ending of the film. I think it does well in the third act more so than in its like first act, where I think a lot of it is just like, okay, you can notice the bad acting a little more in the first act than you can in the third act, when it's kind of relegated to other characters. In this, we've got the two people running this, and then obviously we've got Kate and him, and it's not all just resting on Ethan's shoulders. So we round out the movie. They do escape, but I'll leave that for you to find out how. And now from this point on, the last remaining thing is going to be this spoilery thing that if you don't want to know, you can click off now. Thanks for coming by, subscribe for more, and you can become part of the collective. And now for the spoiler thing that I was talking about earlier. So let's get into it. So there is a moment where Ethan has gone to this cop. He's gone to this cop throughout the whole thing, and this cop's just being a dick, man. It's not your typical just like, I don't want to talk about this. This guy is actively like thwarting the investigation of this thing because, oh no, Ethan said something bad about him on his podcast and his little feelings are hurt. He just can't handle it anymore. But it turns out Ethan escapes from this thing. He lives his life with Kate. They're getting along fine. And then all of a sudden, one night, he is grabbed in his house. He's taken out. He's thrown into a van, and he's like, shit, these people are back to get him. And I do like this aspect of, you think everything works out in the end, but it really doesn't. Ethan is caught, and he's taken. And then at the end, there's a bunch of people as they open up the van that all have these masks on, these clown masks. And one is removed, and he's the one who bid, and it is the detective from the beginning of the movie who has basically thwarted the whole thing. So you're left wondering, is he buying him so he can save him, or is he buying him so he can kill him because he was just an asshole throughout the thing? That is what it leaves you on, and I do like that kind of nebulous thing where you're like, you really don't know what he's going to do with him. He kind of looks, he's got this very stern look where he's like, I'm going to fucking kill you for what you did because you're an asshole. But you don't really know. You don't really know what's going to happen. And so I do like that. So overall, not the worst thing I could have watched on Tubi. Out of all the things that I picked, I think I picked a decent movie. Now, obviously, we're talking about a lower budget on streaming Tubi movie. So my expectations were already low going in. So I wasn't like, oh my God, this is going to be a masterpiece. So yet again, no, if you go into this and you're like, oh, this is terrible. My expectations are low. And I am viewing this from the standpoint that it is a Tubi original horror movie. So obviously I'm not bringing much expectation in. So just go in with low expectations. You might have a good time overall with this little fun movie. So again, thanks to Dan Zachary. Sucks we can't see more from him in the future, but I think his first outing was a decent one at that. So that's what I'll leave you with. I'm going to link some videos for you at the end as always. Thanks for stopping by. Let me know down below, what did you think of the Deep Web Murder Show, and do you have any other recommendations for the subsequent episodes of It Came From Tubi? Let me know down below what you think I should review next. All right, that's what I've got. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll talk to you guys in my next review.